Okay, yo. I was just trying to make a a cam mask for my cam, which didn't really work out, but I don't know. The effect is still kind of cool. It was supposed to be this like gradient. I noticed I haven't really got a lot of time to like do all this stuff right now, so I'm just trying to find a quick solution to everything. But the gradient hasn't worked, but it's fine. We'll get it done for the next stream. Anyway, yo, I'm back. It's been ages. I think a good 10 months. I actually, to be completely honest, did a stream the other day. Only to discover that like I messed up the audio. So the audio was only coming out of like the left ear because it's just an OBS thing. Like I had it in stereo and I messed it up. So I like took it down pretty much straight away. So that was that. So this is like not my official comeback. I'm just going to adjust my mic here. I hope that it's not too loud or too quiet, and hopefully the audio levels are good. Hopefully someone will let me know as the stream goes on. Either way, or anywho, I'm working on Aura UI, which is a project that I started about a year ago now. And I think maybe I had done a little bit of work on it on stream back like 10 months ago. But just to kind of refresh it, so this is what it looks like. Well, this is at least what I don't know where the aura thing is. Sorry, that's not what we're looking at here. Oh, look, there's a stream. Let's go and find aura. So it's still very early. So this is like the Twitter. Go follow it. You know, if you feel like, would be much appreciated. We'll start with the updates very soon on this. You know, it's been a long time coming since I've wanted to really get back and work on this. So I'm really excited to do so. And yeah, I don't know. I've had just a sudden burst of inspiration with it, like in terms of approach and just also with the like new changes that have come or new features that have come to Figma, has really sort of, I don't know, inspired me taking like a much better approach than I did before. I actually did like a bit of a tweet thread today about it, just because like I found it so interesting, how much of a game changer the component properties and variants are in Figma. Just to run through that quickly for like anyone who doesn't know what that is. I'll start with an example and show you like how good this change is. So this is actually what we had before component properties dropped. We still had variants, so like these are all variants of like one component, whatever. You know, to an extent it's still pretty cool. So I don't know, let's just take this button here and I'm just going to go over here. So the general idea was like you've got this button and you can change the size. You can go medium, large. Like you've obviously got the states, which we don't change manually, but you can of course attach prototype abilities to it, which is what we did, I think. Yeah, okay, so if you see here, we added prototype. So when you hover, it goes to the hover state. When you click, whilst you're hovering, it goes to the active state, that kind of thing. Very cool. So that, like, you know, we still had that, which was very cool. And we had like prefix and suffix, which was pretty cool as well. And we still had the ability to change, you know, variants from subtle to outline, ghost, and then to solid as well. All, you know, very cool. But, you know, say we want to now introduce, I don't know, some different shapes, right? Like we want to introduce, hey, Vancouver, how's it going, man? Legend, thank you. Thank you. Same back to you. It's good to see you. How's it going? So, yeah, Vancouver, I'm just working on some design stuff right now, building a like open source design system and React component library called Aura UI. I'm not sure if you remember it from past streams, but it's been ages since I've worked on this, and I'm just getting back around to stuff. So I'm kind of updating everyone on where I'm at with this. And currently, like, I'm just talking about going from this component here, which is like pretty huge, right? It's got like a lot of states, which is cool, But the game changer here is like we have 4 like variants of this just for like the like icon placement. So we've got a completely separate like version for if the icon's placed left or right or both left and right. And where component properties in Figma really change the game here is like now we can actually define this through Boolean values. So what you get is like, and I'll actually try and see if I can demonstrate this. Hey Vancouver, let me know how the audio is, by the way, if the my voice is too loud or too quiet, or the music is too loud or quiet. I would really appreciate that, because I didn't do proper checking like I tested earlier. But anyway, so we have like, let's just single out like this one right here, right? So let's just put this, I don't know, side by side. And so generally here, right, this, so maybe it's not one for one because we've got all these different ones, but like for the most part the output is going to be the same on these 2 components, right? And but like look how huge this is, and look how like much smaller this one is. But I guess it's like these 4, but it's still way smaller. So like this, I believe is, yeah, this is the new one. This is the old one. But like as you can see, like we still have kind of like the same stuff. You've got the prefix and suffix. Here you've got like, we just call it left icon and right icon in this one. But like it's so much smaller, and like that's the real cool thing about having component properties, is that you can just hide away the stuff that you don't need. I don't think that's the base component. I'll show you in the work in progress. So here, this is like an example of what's actually going on under the hood. So what we need in this component in terms of properties is we need the ability to turn, like to have a Boolean value for if it has a left icon and a right icon, so you can obviously, you know, turn it on and off with the flick of a switch. And then we also want the ability for like the consumer to be able to change the label. So like you should really be able to, if you're consuming this, you should be able to change this button. Say if it's a sign up button, you want to be able to say sign up, and if I hit enter, it's going to switch there, which is pretty cool. So we want to be able to have to allow that to happen, and this is all made possible through component properties. Like we never had this before. This feature came in, like you would have to manually, of course, change the text, which is like fine. But the way I understand that Figma works with variants, especially in prototypes, I think there is like still some limitations to having like these like customizable components, if that makes sense. So like say if I consume this component and I want to, I don't know, change it to be like a violet one, I don't know, change it to be violet 3, change it to be violet 7. I'm just going to show it quickly because I think it's worth showing, because I've been wondering about this like issue for a while with Figma. So now obviously the issue here with this, right, immediately is like, that's cool that we're getting this to work, but, and I'm going to put this in a frame here, just make it like, I don't know, 50 by 50, so we can just get a bit of space. I'm just going to play this. Now, once this loads up, you'll see, I'm going to zoom in on it. Okay, so firstly, we've actually no, we don't have the hover states. It probably would be better to do it with this button right here, because I think this has the, yes, it has the states. Okay, my bad. Let's do it with this guy. So make that 11 instead. Make this 3. Make this 5 at 7. Okay, for some reason we're on the disabled variant, which I do not know why, or at least it looks like we are. Some weird like pass through. Oh, I know what it is. For some reason this pass through is on 50%. Okay, so just wasted a bit of time there, but that's cool. Okay, here we are. So now you can see immediately, like, the problem is that like it doesn't persist, right? But there's a weird issue where like even if I were to go and update the these hover states, right? Sorry, hover and active states. Like if you then wanted to consume it and change it to a different color, like a lot of the time it's like really buggy and it doesn't actually persist. And I found the other day there's actually been a discussion within the Figma community for this like ongoing, like for months. I'm sure there's been many of them, but the one I saw has been going on since earlier this year. So yeah, it's definitely something that we want fixed, and I guess it's something that as like a user I would expect to just be working, but I'm sure there's probably a good reason why it's not the case. But I really hope that Figma can kind of fix that up, because that kind of would eliminate the need for like a lot of the workarounds that we're doing with these. Because essentially, like, I could still have like these kind of theme buttons. The general idea with the buttons is to, which I think would be cool, is to have something that follows the radix theme. Radix I've spoken about many times before, so I'm not going to go through what it is again, like in depth, but just at a high level. It's a component library, but they also have an icon set and a whole color system, which is definitely built with accessibility like top of mind. So it's really cool, and they actually have like rules as well, which Aura UI will be like pretty tightly following. So like the general idea for like components and this kind of idea of having a customizable design system is that you can essentially have like all of these like components can basically you can set the color scheme to be like any one of like, and I haven't decided exactly if it's going to use like every single colorway, or if we're just going to start with like a subset of them. Maybe over time, if the community obviously want other kind of colorways, then we can expand on it then, or if you just do it from the outright. Like, I'm not really sure yet, still thinking about that. We'll likely put it up for discussion as well in the near future, just via GitHub discussions on the project. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see about that, but generally, like, that's the idea, is to have, like, as a user, you can consume this button and you could like basically have a color scheme thing. The actual example of that is over here. So this was like just a test, and you have like this color scheme thing here, so you can change it from violet to gray. The idea obviously is that then over time you'd have like red, blue, green, like just main colors, and you could like start to very quickly create mock-ups with this with like very little effort. That's the kind of idea, is just to help both designers and developers move faster, but of course like still having this like I don't know, like sophisticated functional UI. So yeah, that's like so I've just been doing R&D on this like over the weekend. I mean, I think I started on a weekday evening and then just left it and came back to it on like Friday night, and just spent a couple hours, like, well, maybe an hour or two like each day since Friday, just playing around with it, just experimenting with stuff. And this is what I stumbled on, which I shared on Twitter earlier. It was just this interesting setup where I kind of realized that like through component properties and variants, you can create this kind of structure where you can basically you can leverage the structure to create this end interface here, which is like what the consumer uses. And I think what will be really interesting is learning what makes sense for people to use. Like, if there's some confusion between like variants and properties, like, would it make more sense just to have all of these things as like variants, or would it make sense to have them all as properties, or like does it make sense to have them split up into variants and properties? Because of course, like, depending on what people want, or like what makes sense, would then depend on how we update this structure, basically. So, and the thing is, it's like it's never like a quick thing to update, to change, especially in regards to this. Like, there's a lot of duplication, as you can already see. So yeah, it can be a bit tricky. I think one good thing about this kind of structure, though, and this is like a realization I came to earlier, is that really all you need in regards to properties, at least, is like this kind of base component that allows updates like down the whole tree. So like that's where this like work in progress is coming in now. So I've gone for a different approach where I've actually just got one component that's the base, and that has all the properties. Like, it has the left icon, it has the right icon, it has a label. You can change the label name, It has a left and right icon. So like any fundamental changes to the structure of this button that needs to be done across all the components, like I don't now have to like select and highlight all of them, and like I can just come to this one component and it's going to update everything, which is pretty helpful in that sense. I think the trade-off that we make here though is in the interface itself, and I'll show that right here. So like what we've done here is that we've added states now. So we've got some states. Cool. So now if we do this, we can now see the states. So you got default, hover, like active, so on and so forth. But so here's the kind of slight caveat is that now it's adding like this extra section to the interface now. So now like once we add, let's say the variance, which includes color, and ideally in this it would include size. But I'm having some issues with that, and I'll explain. Like it's a bit weird, the problem I'm having with it, but it would ideally include size as well as color, and then I can't remember the last one for the life of me because it's late and I'm tired. Shape as well. So that would be the idea, but then of course you've got this extra like states one, and it's like maybe states should be a property, like it's because it's not really something that you are going to want to change at the interface level anyway, because it's prototyped. So it's actually happening at the interaction level. So as you can see here, like it's going to happen wherever the button is. Like we don't really need to have the ability to change it in the side. And I'm kind of wondering as well, like I don't know if it would be really cool if there's like a way to hide specific properties like at a higher level, but I have no idea if that's actually possible at this point. But I'm going to research into it. But my current hunch is that like it's not possible to like hide things from this kind of end interface. But yeah, I don't know. I'm coming to the conclusion that like this should be easier than it is, but for now, like I think it's just we're just finding workarounds until the software kind of catches up with what we kind of need. And I guess like the reason I'm saying this is because I'm coming much more from like the perspective of like a developer. So of course, like in code, things are much more kind of, I don't know, automated, I guess I could say. And so like I'm just trying to find a very similar flow in design, which is why I'm trying to, I don't know, push this R&D exploration as far as it can go. And I spent so much time on it this week. Well, like much more time than I thought I would have, but it's been interesting to learn like a bit more about like different approaches. But right now, to be completely honest, I think I'm just settling a bit more on this approach, just purely because it works. Like here, everything is working, so I can go from medium to large, you know, to small. I can add left and right icon to that. Need to fix up this issue. I know what that is. What else? Yeah, so you can change like the shape. I can change the color. Like it's working well. It's working pretty well for me. So yeah, that's all good. That's all good. So right now, because the main issue that I'm having with this, like this is fine. The main issue that I'm having is just with like this size property being here. Like I really feel like, and again, I think this is just coming from like how I'm usually creating buttons in code, and typically this just doesn't feel right here. It feels like size should really be a variant. I'm happy for everything else to kind of stay within the properties section, but yeah, I don't know. Size doesn't really feel like it should be down there. It feels like it should be up here. But the issue right now is like changing the architecture of this button is pretty difficult actually. And I don't know why, but I basically created like a component outside of the states component, which basically was changing the size. And my kind of guess was that just because with the size, the only thing that's changing is two things. One is the padding, and the other thing that's changing is the text. So that's the font size and the line height. Those are the only things that are changing. And so my hunch was that, like, because those are the only things that are changing, it should still persist across the different, like, hover, active, and disable states, but it doesn't actually. So I think what happens is that it kind of resets in a way, but it doesn't actually reset. I would show you, but it'd probably take too long to set up. But yeah, basically, the way I was trying to go about it, it's not working. So yeah, this is a bit of a trickier way to go right now. I'm hitting roadblocks with this. The other way, of course, is literally just to have everything like in this on the same level. So like the states. So you can imagine you'd have the states, you'd have like the sizes. So you'd have like this one, and you'd have like a bigger one. Don't really know how to actually increase the size of these. Have I just done it there? No, let's go one more down. Let's go one more up. So let's say like, I don't know, like 12 or whatever. And like, no, let's just do that. I'm just doing this for the sake of it. Right, so let's say like, you know, you've got these bigger buttons, and then, so those are the sizes, and then you'd have like the different colors. Like you'd basically have a lot of components inside one like frame, basically. Or you'd have many variants basically of like what would be one component. Which is like something I'm trying to steer clear from the old approach, but I guess like at the end of the day, if it means that the experience for the consumer is better, then it kind of makes sense to do, I guess. But right now, just gonna stick with this because it's working and it's looking cool. The only thing, again, another caveat of this is like we now lose the kind of, I don't know, the granularity, I guess, of updating like what ends up being this component here. Because now in order to update, like, because we have to make all updates in parallel, right? Otherwise, like, we're just not going to have a sync component. It's going to be kind of weird. So right now, in this component, like, as opposed to literally going to this one place and making updates here, now because of the architecture in this component, we now have to make an update to every single one of these. Okay, so granted, it might not be too bad if it's something like, I don't know, updating like a property that they all share. Okay, that'd be great. But there's many instances where like, so there was one where, and I don't even know if I finished it yet, because I started this on the weekend. I think this happened on Friday. There was like a issue I realized where, because these components are hidden, so as you can see here, we're getting like a gray icon button, and so we have to literally go manually to like all of these. We have to go to all of these components, and we have to like basically update them. And so sure, we can grab like each one. We can do that. But like, you know, as you can see, it's like it's it's a lot of work to do. Whereas like it'd be much easier to do with like having like a base structure basically. I guess at some point with the colors you have to do it at some stage, I guess. So maybe this is not a good example. But it's still difficult. You know. So yeah, that's just one thing that that I've noticed. But yeah, it's not the worst thing. It definitely isn't the worst thing. And I guess the nice thing about this is, as far as like, you know, things go in regards to like this library and, you know, building it over time, it's not really something that you will have to excuse me, something that you have to revisit. So it's not the worst thing. It's one of those like things I find a lot of Figma where it's pretty tedious, but often you just do it once, or like maybe not once, but you don't have to do it for like a long time, basically. I don't know why I highlighted that. But yeah, so this is like the boring, tedious work that yeah, I just don't like to do, but it's necessary, no doubt. So I'm just gonna try and like speed up on this. But I really like this new feature as well, where you can like select the same like property across all the variants. Like that just makes life so much easier. I honestly just sometimes I think I don't know how we got through this before, like without going crazy. Sometimes I'd literally find myself sitting for like hours just manually updating things, and it's just not fun. Not fun at all. Right, so okay. So where are we at? So we don't want that to be Violet 11. Sorry, that's my bad. We want this to be Slate 12. We want this to be the same color as the text. And yes, we want to do that. We want to jump one in. Okay. So yeah, it is a pretty long process right now to do this. But, you know, it is as it is. So, nice thing is once we've done this now, like there's no need to revisit that part. And I've just messed that up. Actually, that's my bad. I've messed up there actually. It should be Violet. So this should really be adhering to the rules of the system. Should be Violet 12. All of this should be Violet 12 actually. So yeah, again, annoying thing if you make if you make a mistake, you've got to go back, right? Like it kind of sucks and do that whole thing again. But so once you get into the groove of it, it's not the worst thing, but it's not fun either. Like this is not the kind of stuff I look forward to when I'm working on this project. Like this is the stuff I can't wait to get past. It's just very like tedious and slow and not automated. And I'm sure there are definitely tools. There's tools I used before that I can't remember for the life of me. That I could have used for sure. Okay, no, I am using Violet 12. Okay, for the text, that's fine. Okay, so I believe we're done, and we can actually just test this now. We don't need to guess. Okay, nice. That's working well. So that's great, and we can have a look at outline. That's good. That's working well. Working well. Ghost working well. That's great. So that's all updated properly. We want to make sure it's updated across the shapes as well, because remember those are different components also. Oh, my bad. Okay, I was going to say, I thought for a second it had a border. I was like, what? Okay, so that's working well. Let's check regular. Good, good. We also want to check outline, and we want to check. So, okay, cool. So working well across the board. So that's good to see. So now we know that's all good. That's all fine. It's working. Great stuff. Okay, cool. So again, not ideal that we've got size here. Like we'd really want it here, but do you know what? For now, we move. Let's just carry on. Let's continue with what we're trying to do here. Like, I think generally it's a pretty nice interface. Like I quite like having or seeing this. The fact that we can update the variant, the shape, and the color scheme here, and then have access to all these kind of smaller properties. And for now, let's just include the size within that, even though it changes it pretty drastically. And I think what I noticed is that I'm getting a call. Right. Okay, so where am I at? Yeah, so what I want to do regarding these small buttons, so I think there's like it shouldn't be an issue. I don't really know what's going on. Actually, that's the wrong one. It looks like, okay, that's not the right one. Yeah, okay, what's happening here? Okay, so it looks like maybe this should be 4. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? This is like, feels a bit too constrained. Interesting. And I wonder... Okay, so let's see what it looks like without the icons. Okay. Interesting. So now the question is like becoming... Do we add like a wrapper around the icons? But the only thing is this can get tricky where we have different sizes, because now you have to update that for different sizes. It can be a bit tricky. I'm going to put a bit more thought into that one. I don't know what I'm going to do. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, let me close that down. Right, okay, so... Okay, what I'm going to do, I want to just... I've been sort of like... itching to test out this like component property variance thing with like a more, I don't know, complex component, I guess. Let's take a look. I like, well, I don't know, some kind of like overlay component or something. I'm just wondering, what could this be good for? Accordion could be cool. This is some like test I did months and months ago. Really just like testing out how we could make like a really cool accordion. I don't know. I feel like it could be a lot of work there. I'm just looking for something like simple enough. I guess we could do it for inputs, but I'm not really sure where to start with that. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. But like, right now, she's like working well enough, I would say. You know, I think I would say it's working well enough. So I guess what we would do is basically have this, right? Okay, for some reason it created a component from that, which is weird. I don't think that's what I wanted. Yes, this is what I wanted. Okay. And now we wrap it. Sorry, I'm getting the emojis up. We wrap it in this component, which is actually going to be the OG button component. And now we expose the properties. We expose all the nested instances. And now what you will see is when we duplicate this button, which is the main button. Nice. Now we have access to all of those properties from before, which is pretty neat. So again, cool thing about this generally is the fact that cool thing about this generally is the fact that like we now basically can update things within this structure, and it's going to like trickle all the way through to here. So we can add another color if we wanted to, and I might just even quickly demonstrate that, just because like it should be relatively quick to do so, and like why not? It's cool. I don't know where like this color's coming from. Like, what is this purple? Oh, okay, that's the variant thing. It's fine. Okay, what color should we go for? What color should we go for? Let's go for like a green. Or yeah, let's go for a green. Let's go for a green. Let's go for a green. So we can just literally just swap out. Like, it's just guess as straightforward as that. Like we just swap things out, right? Right. Cool. We want green 12 here. Green 8. My bad, I'm spelling green wrong. Green 3. Green 4. I want green 5. I want green 9. Alright, cool. That is simple as that. Very, very, very straightforward. Very cool. Okay, and so what you actually want to do here is like, and this bit's like not the most straightforward bit. Again, like it's not the easiest thing to add these components, but it's very cool once like we get things going, I guess. So you can see here we've added that in there. Actually, this is a bit more like straightforward than maybe it was prior to this. Okay, we've added that. Added that one. Okay, we can probably move a bit quicker now. So we'll see very shortly. There's like the cool thing about what we're about to do is that we only need to add. Oh, my bad. Yeah, you'll see we have to do very little work, which is always very nice once these are added in. Okay, I'll line those up like later. And this one. So we're about to see what I'm doing. I need to check color contrast of that. Like it just does not look accessible. I might be wrong though. Anyway, I've got like a color contrast checker, so I'll throw that on in a bit. Let's check it out. Okay. Sorry, I'm just a perfectionist with this kind of thing. And yeah, another cool thing which I didn't realize actually until the other day. I'd only seen it when I realized like my components weren't in a straight line. It was just giving me anxiety. Okay, tidy them up. Okay, now this is the cool thing. We can just grab all of these here. There's only one property here that isn't right. So you can see here, like, what's that about? MD? Like, what? No, we want green. So now, we should... I don't know why... Okay, what are we missing? Okay, so they're conflicting somehow. Ah, I've got... Ah, okay, I see the issue. Because we haven't set the shape. I forget, shape is on this as well. So we don't want default, we want regular. And as you can see, there's the default one, which obviously shouldn't exist. No worries. Smigma? So that's a new one. Figma's smart enough to figure out that it's not needed once you like replace it with all of these. So magically now it will disappear. So if I go back, no more default. And now we're all good. It should... Oh, variant. My bad. I forgot variant's the last one. So what we want to do for these is make them subtle. So as you can see, like, okay, a little bit of work, but like not anything too strenuous, you know. Right. Cool. Sorry guys, just give me a moment. I'm just getting a call. I'm just messaging if I can call back. Right, okay, we're all good. No more complaints. So, as you can see, we should now be able to, fingers crossed, update this to green. Okay, so yeah, it resets to medium, to the medium size. Or actually, hold on. This is interesting. This is really interesting. Okay, I want to know why that is. Is it because we're not exposing the nested? Ah. I'm very curious, actually. This is an interesting one. Okay. So basically, what's going on here is, as you can see... So I'm wondering now, this makes me question, like, can we change this structure even more? Because like, this is the way I was talking about, that maybe it might be preferred if actually we just had everything that exists on one level, instead of having like this kind of split variants and properties. Maybe we just have one. And I guess it's because things are not being exposed here, which is an interesting revelation. So that's why I've really enjoyed doing this, actually. So I'm just like discovering all these interesting things. Yeah, at the same time, I'm not really sure. No, I wanted it at this level, actually, but it's not going to let me do it. Okay, so if I just do this, and I don't know why I have two. Anyway, I'm just going to entertain it for a second, and let's see what happens now when I switch to green. It's the same. I'm very confused. I feel like, let's just remove the nested instances from here. I feel like it has something to do with this though. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Remember, because this happened the other day. We have to, it's just, again, it's a bit of extra legwork, which is not fun, but we have to, one thing I'm not really sure about though is like where these are coming from. Let's turn them on and see if that like change, if that fixes it. So it seems it still doesn't actually. Yeah, I'm kind of baffled. I don't really know what the issue is there. But anyway, I'm gonna investigate tomorrow. I'm gonna wrap up here, but it's been good. It's been fun. Yeah, it was just a kind of short stream, just to kind of show what I've been up to, what I've been getting carried away with over the weekend, and hopefully like a glimpse into some of the cool stuff that can be done in Figma. Hopefully it wasn't too all over the place, but yeah, this is very much like in the middle of R&D right now, in the design part of Aura. And I've decided as well with this project, like I've been sort of wrestling with how I should best approach it for quite some time now, but more recently I've kind of just wanted to push a bit more on the design side of things, and then go to development like from that. So for me it just kind of makes more sense to get the components like all designed well and things, and then to use that as a base reference in code kind of just makes sense. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking now. I haven't really set any hard deadlines, but I'm gonna jump in linear probably after this and start like sketching out some rough deadlines for when I want this stuff done, because I really don't want to spend too long on the design part. It'd been really nice to be moving on to getting back into the code in a couple of weeks, and to start really bringing this project to life, and hopefully getting like a nice alpha version out before the new year would be ideal. But we'll see how we go. I can't promise anything, but yeah, I'll be hoping to do more of these streams anyway, and yeah, show the progress there. And also I'll show in the next couple of streams other things I'm working on. I'll give you a quick little snippet right now. So working on a small little project for my mother's salon, her hair salon. So this is just like a really basic, like minimal kind of site, but yeah, I'm liking it right now. I think I quite like this like minimalist approach and like the kind of monochrome theme. Just need to figure out a couple of things for some of the views, like the contact page is still yet to be done. Like the about us page just has like, it's all placeholders right now. So I need to figure out some of that stuff. But again, like in future streams, I will be showing progress on that. And also, let me zoom out. I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, this is my portfolio. So redoing that as well again. But I'm really liking this new design. It's super minimal, and yeah, pretty excited to be working on that soon also. So you guys will get to see all that in future streams. But either way, yeah, thank you for watching. If you stay to the end, really appreciate that. Feel free, if you wish, to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more streams, and I will hopefully be aiming to push out more content before the end of the year. But yeah, next year definitely like aim is to get out lots of content, hopefully like some small courses and things. Like I started on it last year, just never managed to finish, but you know, now this time around I think my structure, my schedule even is a lot more forgiving, I'd say. So I do have time to put towards the streams and things, because it's always fun. Like I really do enjoy just kind of building and learning in public. It's a great thing to do. So yeah, thank you again, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Cool. Awesome.